What's up, and welcome to the Little Wise Guys podcast. I'm your host, Eslam, aka God, Raw God of the Sun, accompanied by Dan, Papa Son Killer. How's it going?
How's it going? How's it going? What's your name? Who are you?
I'm God Ra, son of the something.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on
Got
anymore.
Ross on it.
I got
There we go.
renegated, and I just can't speak
Yep.
anymore.
Yep.
That's what happens. Oh man, um, how's it going, bro? We getting old.
Uh, it's going. Life is living. You know, things are
Life
going.
is living.
Life is living. That's a saying I'm coming up with now.
Yeah, life is living.
Life just keeps
Living la
on
vida
living.
loca. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We out here, out
I got
here
a
eating,
comic book.
leaving no crumbs.
I got a comic book I read many years ago,
Hmm.
and I never actually owned it. I always wanted to own it. Mouse, really
Oh,
good book.
nice.
Really good
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
Yeah. Anybody who hasn't read that, I highly suggest you do.
yeah, yeah. I just
Won
gave
many
my
awards.
wife's nephew some of my comic books to read, from my collection.
Mhm.
So they got those, and see if I get them back. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
But speaking of comic books, today's episode we will be discussing James Gunn's new DC Slate, Chapter One,
Gods and
Gods and
monsters.
Monsters. That's right. Thanks, Dan.
No problem.
I was trying to pause for dramatic effect, but then
Yeah.
my pause took a longer
I
than
thought you didn't
expected.
know what it was.
Yeah, I gotta get my pauses correct. Like
All right,
I be pausing too long sometimes.
it's all good.
Yeah, but James Gunn, will he save the DC universe? As you may know, James Gunn is rebooting the DC universe. Um, starting with the Flash movie. So I want to share a little something here to kind of show what's going on. All right, so this is the current state of the DC universe, right? So first up will be Shazam, or is it Fury of the Gods, coming up March 17th. Then we have the Flash, which will reboot the universe, right? So the Flash is coming June 16th, 2023. Reset the universe, and then after that, we will get Blue Beetle. So I guess from the movies that got announced from the old DC regime, Blue Beetle made the cut. So good for them. And then we'll get Aquaman at the end of the year. All right. So these are
We
the
can't,
four
we can't all
movies.
be winners.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they're doing with Aquaman. I'm surprised they even kept Aquaman, but let's see what's going to happen with this reset and how Aquaman is going to play into the larger picture.
To be honest, I'm surprised they kept any of those four.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what they're gonna do with Shazam, and
Mm.
well, Blue Beetle doesn't have any ties yet, so they can literally like rewrite the script, reshoot, do whatever they need to do to make it work with the rest of this, right? But with like Aquaman and Shazam that have already been part of like the DC EU,
Mm.
but like Shazam wasn't really tied directly with he was tied with like a cut scene at the end of the movie where
Like he was in the
Superman.
universe. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, but like he wasn't really a major part of like the original Snyderverse. So I guess they can get away with that. Plus
Yeah.
Aquaman, definitely Snyderverse, but I don't know what they're gonna do with him. So
Well, it's a universe reset. So who? I mean, how do we know it's just not a alternate version
yeah,
of them or something? Or they could do what they did way back when, if you recall, when they did the Infinity War for Marvel. Then they did Ant-Man 2,
hmm
and then after Ant-Man 2, they did what was the big Marvel's one after that? After Infinity War,
um,
the one where we had the happy ending and Iron Man died.
oh, fuck, Avengers Endgame.
Endgame. So we had Ant-Man 2 in
hmm
between there, and
Yeah, yeah,
Ant-Man 2 was a took place before Infinity War, or once he got out, they were affected by Infinity War because of the snap.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's something where it could be that sense of where it's like maybe at the end of Aquaman, the universe change is going to affect him at the end of that movie, but everything
Oh,
that
that
happened
makes
for the
sense. Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it might be something like that.
I wonder if we're gonna see Emperor Aquaman in the Flash. That'd be very interesting. But it doesn't. I don't know. From the images and like the other Flash with the Batman suit and like Supergirl,
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going with that.
It's
What
like
type of story?
elements of Flashpoint, but not Flashpoint.
Yeah, yeah. One of my favorite things from Flashpoint was Emperor Aquaman. He was so badass. I loved him.
There was a lot to pull away
I
from that.
mean,
Thomas
first of all,
Wayne
like
was great.
Flashpoint was one of the best stories ever written.
Oh yeah,
Um, Phenomenal. If you haven't read the comic book, I highly recommend you go check it out.
yeah. The
But
animated movie's good too.
yeah, it was. Then after this, we're gonna move into the first chapter of the new DCU. Right, we're leaving the DCEU, which is after the Flash, and we're moving into the DCU, rewritten and produced by James Gunn and Peter Safran. And this is their new slate of Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies, right? And they're building a 10-year plan. So the reason why after Henry Cavill announced that he's back, they announced that he's not back, is because they decided that they want to build a 10-year plan and they want to go with younger actors so they can be part of this 10-year plan. Honestly, they could have with the Flashpoint, they could have just kept Henry Cavill as a Superman, and you could have done like Kingdom Come Superman within the Snyderverse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's okay.
It would have been interesting, but it is what it is. There's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but this is what's happening now, and I hope it's very successful and good.
I
I
mean, the
wish
good
nothing
thing
but the
is
best.
we finally now live in a world where the vast majority of people understand the multiverse, which is not the
Yes.
case a few years ago, where it's like,
Yeah.
think about when Tobey Maguire Spider-Man came out.
Hmm.
Just the concept of something was like, what if we had different actors play the same superhero, but in multiple different universes, and we have them coincide? It's like, if you're a comic book nerd or you watch the cartoons at a young age,
Hmm.
okay, I get that. If you were
Yeah.
just the average moviegoer at that time, I was like, no, it's Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
He's the one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you can't have more than one. Like we now live in a world where it's like, oh no, that makes sense. You just
That's
have to
it's
think a
more
little bit.
common. Like a universe is more common, and honestly, that's thanks to Marvel, right? They built
Yeah,
out a universe and they made people understand that. So now it's a lot easier for any other franchise that's trying to build a universe for the consumer to
yeah.
understand what's gonna be happening.
So yeah,
So
good job. Everybody else in the
shout
world who
out,
caught up to comic book nerds.
yeah, but yeah, shout out to Kevin Feige for finding a dummy proof way to explain the whole universe. So good. Let's check out James Gunn talking about the his new DCU Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, and we'll discuss more after that.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if some
Now, here's one thing. I understand why he wants to do this, but I don't think you need to do this.
Mhm.
Like, you can just have these things. You can just have your movie universe be connected, even your animated universe being connected. But you want to do movies, comic books, games. I feel like that's a lot.
I mean, they're not though. Like he's saying this, but it's not going to happen.
Okay, that's probably why. I feel like
Yeah,
it's a lot to coordinate and to make good. And and hey, maybe they'll succeed with it and they'll set a new standard. Like Marvel set this one standard of like connected universe within movies, and then slowly added some TV shows here and there. Maybe in the comic books, I wasn't really reading the comic books, but maybe they'll be able to succeed in doing this throughout every piece of the DC but I don't know. I feel like that's a lot. You don't really need to do that.
yeah.
something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now.
I don't know if you've noticed, but this is very interesting. Even though it's just a still shot of him, they're literally just like zooming in and out every couple of seconds.
There's cuts too.
Yeah, there are
There's a lot
cuts,
of
but
cuts,
like
yeah.
there's like various zoom ins and zoom outs. I guess to keep the people engaged,
I
which I
don't know.
think is
I
funny.
think it's that, but I also think like there's probably when I look at it, I'm noticing the cuts more simply because I think he's probably like saying things.
Yeah,
If
and
you
then they're
one thing
like,
that I remember when I watched this is he says the word marvelous like 8 times and it's
yeah,
annoying. But it's like that made the cut. But I was just thinking like maybe there's certain things he's saying or he's giving a little bit too much info or maybe
and then
not
they
enough
cut that out.
info,
Yeah,
and then they're just like, all right, let's reword this, like
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. All right, let's continue.
So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos. If you guys notice here, this is Weasel, which you guys may remember him from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, played by his brother, I think.
It is. Very excited to see
Yeah.
Agent Frankenstein, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
Was it Agent?
Yep, I think so. And then you have his wife.
Hmm.
I don't know the rest of these people, but he does explain. But we'll keep going. Sorry.
Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action.
See, that I like. I don't.
Yeah.
I like animation very much, and I feel
Yeah.
like they can do a lot more things in animation.
I agree.
The thing with this is, excuse me, if like they can do a movie or like this is TV, right? They can do a whole series to set up a movie and then they do the movie live action, but
Yeah.
do all the crazy wild shit in the in the animated series and then kind of like they don't have to go over budget with the movie, kind of keep it low budget but like still do awesome shit, you know what I mean?
I'm
I
for
like
all
that.
of that.
Yeah. I
I
feel
don't
like
like
that
the actors
transition.
going back and
Oh,
forth.
I kind of like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's necessary. Where it's just like it's one of those things where this is me being wrestling fan mentality. There's so many good, different like voice actors out there or different things. Like, do we really need somebody that's just like just because this person plays whoever in the movie? Like, for example, if it's his brother who's going to play Weasel in both of them, is that necessary? What did Weasel say in the movie?
Nothing really.
Exactly. So it's like I feel like I don't know of how many big characters they're going to have transition between two
Yeah.
things. So far, the only one we're seeing is Weasel. So that's
I
one
mean,
where
but
it's just
now,
like,
even for voice acting, they're starting to go into the pool of like the A-listers. Like,
no, I got
like
you. Yeah.
in Mario, they got Chris Pratt and all these names, and they've been doing that before, like with Kung Fu Panda. They had like Angelina Jolie, Jack Black, and all these big name actors that we
Yeah.
usually see, and they just did voice acting. So, I mean, I don't really mind the voice actors reprising their roles in live action and vice versa. I think that's a good thing.
I
And
think I'd rather see that voice actors go into live action as opposed to the
yeah, and I
real.
hope they do get like really good voice actors, and then they can transition them into live actions and not just get just A-listers names. And
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see.
Next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a
Interesting.
Very interesting. One, I love that they're keeping
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis, because I love her as Waller. She's first of all, she's just an amazing
She's
actress.
the perfect Amanda
Yeah,
Waller.
and yeah, she's just so good that like Amanda Waller is perfect for her. He also just confirms that we're keeping team Peacemaker, right? So Peacemaker is gonna be canon. Everybody in that show is gonna be canon.
And
Um,
the team that's working on this, the team from Watchmen and team from Doom Patrol,
exactly.
two beloved
First of
shows.
all, Watchmen was fucking phenomenal, and Doom Patrol is also phenomenal in its own
I
crazy,
got to get
fucked
back
up
into
way.
that. Yeah.
So, which I think has been canceled now. So Watchmen, sorry, Doom Patrol and the Titans have been canceled. So whatever seasons came out was their last seasons, or I think maybe there's one more season. I'm not sure, but they have been canceled. But the group of writers that they're getting to do these things are phenomenal writers that have done other great stuff before. So very excited.
Fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025.
It's wild that they already have a date for it.
I mean, that's going to get pushed back. Well, then again, I'm thinking of video game mentality. Everything gets
Yeah.
pushed back. Movies, I don't really pay
But
much attention
the
to.
first two projects he announced, Creature Commandos and Waller, are both TV shows. So that's your HBO Max slate. Now we are going into the silver screen. You have Superman Legacy, which is going to be a younger Superman. That's why Henry Cavill's out, and we don't know who he's going to cast yet, or if he's going to be directing. But he is writing this story. So
I have a question about that.
what's up?
So I know anytime one thing James Gunn is really good about doing is anytime rumors surface, especially on Twitter, he immediately shuts them down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, there's one rumor that's going around. I'm not sure if he shut down or not. That Superman Legacy is going to take. It's going to be the story of
Jonathan,
yes,
Jonathan Kent.
his son.
If it is Jonathan Kent, I don't know why they said no to Henry, because then Lois was pregnant towards the end of the Snyderverse.
Yeah,
So if it
I mean,
was
just
gonna be
recasting, that's all.
Jonathan, sure. If Jonathan was gonna be it, they could have kept Henry in and just had him play a smaller role, um, or an
Yeah, but why would
Elseworld.
you have Henry Cavill, who's now a much more famous actor than he was when he first played Superman, play a smaller role?
True. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it could have been possible. I don't know how much Henry loves Superman, but I feel like he would have. I'm speaking for him here, it's stupid, but maybe he would have loved to do a father-son
Maybe.
Superman movie. You know, I feel like he's a good actor. He can do dramatic. He can do anything. So if they are doing Jonathan Kent, why get rid of Henry? So it doesn't make sense. It could be,
Like,
but
I could see
we'll
it.
see.
Yeah, I could see that being the case.
We'll see.
Either or.
Yeah, maybe Superman is dead and Jonathan's gonna take his place. Who knows? Who knows what the story's gonna be? Who knows how serious it's gonna be, lighthearted or whatever? But um, let's hear what else he has to say.
Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO teleseries called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next.
So Lanterns has been in the ether and rumors for like the past like almost 5 years. You know what I mean?
It's not longer. Yeah.
And it was like a buddy cop show has been said before, so now it's being confirmed. But it's also being confirmed to be more of a grittier buddy cop show, because that's what True Detective was. True Detective was very dramatic and grittier. Phenomenal show, again, HBO Max, or HBO show. and it was super great. So I'm excited to see this. I am excited to see how they're gonna balance the power rings with the detective work.
Yeah, I don't know. The moment he says like I'm interested, and then he says True Detective, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now I'm
Yeah.
happy about that because True Detective was a phenomenal story.
Well, I couldn't get past that first episode.
Yeah. But with adding the layer of power rings, like, is it
Does
gonna?
it fit?
Yeah, does it get silly because then they can just do whatever with the power rings, or like? And he said it's a terrestrial show, so it's taking place on Earth, not really that much in outer space, right? And
Mhm.
Green Lanterns, yes, they're from Earth, but they have a whole sector of other planets, and they're in space, going from one planet to the other, protecting other
Yep.
species in
Earth
within the
is not the
sector.
only planet in that
Yeah,
sector. So it's like,
sector two
yeah,
eight
they
one
do.
four. By the
Thank you,
way,
thank you.
um,
2814.
2814. So hopefully they start out as a terrestrial show, and towards the end, whatever this big mystery is on Earth leads to them having to go into outer space. Kind of like what they did with what's it called? Uh, Young Justice. Like Young Justice story began on Earth, but it slowly built up that you were like, oh, there's outer space forces in going along with terrestrial forces to create this other thing. So hopefully that's something that they incorporate into this. And season two, we get into space. So, and I wonder if they're going to show any training montages or how they became lanterns or whatnot, or are they just going to go in and assume people know who the lanterns are. So that's all yet to be determined. So
I want to see Kilowog.
yeah, I always love Kilowog, Tomar Ray. Um,
Mogo.
yeah, Mogo.
Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing it.
Quick question.
Do me a favor. Can
Uh,
you just go back so we can see the image while we're talking?
yeah,
Television
that's what
series.
I was trying to do.
Okay, perfect.
Um, is this Shaira, or is this another Thanagarian?
So I think it might be her.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but honestly, out of all projects announced, the one I'm most excited for right here.
Yeah, I remember these two
So
from
do you
another
remember?
comic book
Yeah.
that you probably gave me
Yeah.
to read.
So New 52
Yes,
had Stormwatch.
that's it. Okay,
So
that's where I
yeah,
remember it
so
from.
Stormwatch had pretty much every. I recognize four of these characters right off the bat from Stormwatch. The two you're talking about, which were their versions of Superman and Batman. They
Yes,
were also romantically involved. Those two. Then you have the
yes.
cybernetic woman on the right.
Uh huh.
She controls the internet.
Okay.
So think
Damn.
about how powerful that is. And then you have the
Yeah.
guy who above him that's not wearing shoes. He's the one that he can speak to the soul within the city. So he doesn't wear shoes
Oh.
because his feet, like if he
Okay.
walks into a city, he knows the history behind it and he
Mhm.
can communicate with the entire city. It's one of the
Okay.
coolest fucking teams I've ever seen in comics. So seeing them get their own movie, not even a show, it's like a straight up
Yeah.
movie. I'm very, very excited about this.
No, this is exciting. This is where I remember these two
Yep.
because they were romantically involved.
Yep.
It was a very interesting dynamic
Yeah.
because again, this
He
is
was
based on
it's
Batman, no
Midnighter,
superpowers.
Midnighter, and I
Yeah.
forgot the other person's name, but
Yeah.
Midnighter is like an aggressive Batman,
Yeah.
which who is already aggressive.
And his powers is very based solar, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's very specifically powered by the sun.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, Superman is also, but like his powers feed off the radiation of the
yeah.
sun, where I think his is mostly just solar energy or something like
If I
that. But
remember, yeah.
okay,
And the other
cool.
two there, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not
The other
sure.
three, I
She's
can't really.
obviously British, and
Yeah.
then him, I'm not really sure who that is.
I mean, yeah. Maybe it's just this weird imaging, or I haven't
Yeah, it
read
could be.
Stormwatch in years, so I don't. I'm not too familiar with Wildstorm comics or them as the Authority. I know them
Hmm.
as Stormwatch, really.
Yeah.
But very, very much looking forward to this one.
Necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island.
All right. This is another one I'm excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you're not a biggest fan of TV shows, and
Mm-hmm.
half of these slate is TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Themyscira in a Game of Thrones like atmosphere makes a lot of sense.
I like that idea. I like that type of style for it. I think that's
Yeah,
cool.
makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense for them. I really hope they show how, like in the Wonder Woman movies, they showed like a version of them that wasn't as savage. But you got to understand, like this is an island full of women that had to defend themselves
Yeah.
from invading male forces all the
Like, look
time.
at this image we have on the screen. Also,
So
if you're not listening to if you're not watching the YouTube version, do that.
yeah,
But yeah,
so they
pure vibe.
have to be savage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have to be like super strong and shit. So I can't wait to see them. And I wonder if like they're gonna do the whole thing with who rules them, or if it's just gonna be Hippolyta.
Mhm.
I always had it's such a
You
weird
got.
name to
Well,
pronounce.
it's remember at the same time we're used to seeing this in a comic book. So how do you say
Yeah,
it? We say
yeah,
Themyscira. He just said Themyscira. So it's like,
yeah.
how do we really know? You know.
Well, I
So
think it is Themyscira,
yeah,
like because
I
it's a
think so
Greek
too.
island, right?
Yeah,
It's in Greek
but
mythology,
it's based
so
off of themes, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? So it's
Themyscira.
like,
Right,
that's what
right.
I'm saying. It's like, but I don't know. I don't know. So is it Hippolyta? Is it
Yeah,
Hippolyta? I don't know.
Hippolyta. I like
Yeah.
Hippolyta better.
I do too.
Hippolyta doesn't. It just sounds weird.
Hippolyta sounds like she might be Hispanic. Tell me I'm wrong. I can say
You're
that
not.
I'm Hispanic.
You're
Like, hey,
not.
look,
You're not.
Hippolyta's coming down.
Oh shit. And like the Ita like
Yeah,
means
exactly.
little, like
Yeah.
Hippolyta. Oh, that's hilarious.
She
That's
gets older, she
perfect,
becomes
actually.
Hippolota.
Yeah, Hippolyta. All right, but yeah, I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see what they do with it as well. It's gonna be fun.
Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of that again, I wonder how they're gonna if because I don't think they've announced or maybe they have and I'm just not sure. But what shit, I forgot her name. Wonder Woman. What was her name? Sorry,
Gal
the
Gadot.
actress Gal Gadot. Thank you. I wonder what Gal Gadot's role is gonna be in this. Maybe Hippolyta is dead and she's the new ruler of Themyscira, and this is like just what's happening after, or maybe it has nothing to do with her. Maybe it's what happened before her. Who knows? But the reset of the DCU will make it that none of the Snyderverse happened, so there's no cubes that they had to hide or whatever, and it's a whole new Wonder Woman. It's a whole new Themyscira. It's a
Well,
whole
I was
new.
about to say, I don't know if I'm just misremembering, but isn't it already confirmed like Gal Gadot's not part of this?
Is it? I wasn't sure. I
I'm not.
don't remember
Maybe
seeing
I'm
it.
just maybe I'm just thinking that happened and it didn't
Okay.
actually happen, but I
It
thought I
most
don't know.
likely did because like the big three was Cavill, Affleck, and Godot, and I think they're all out because they're all older. So
Yeah.
whatever, we'll see.
Is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up.
Now, do you think that's an interesting way to introduce the Bat family?
Interesting, yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest Damian Wayne fan,
Hmm.
so it's like seeing Damian, and I mean, it's all cool and everything. Like, we haven't got to see a Robin in a movie
Yeah.
since Chris O'Donnell and the last scene in Batman and Robin.
Hmm.
So it's like it's cool that we're getting that, but it's one of those things where it's like, all right, depending on how old or how
Yeah.
long Bruce has been doing this, is this the first Robin?
I know.
Has there
So
been
that's what I was
Robins
gonna
before
ask.
then?
He
Like,
said Bat family, so but he's introducing the Bat family with him and Damien, and maybe slowly you realize that there's other Robins before him. So we'll see Dick, we'll see Jason, we'll him, Carrie, maybe.
I doubt
Who knows?
Carrie.
Well, who
Like
knows?
you'll get
Whatever.
Stephanie
But
Brown before you get Carrie Kelly.
okay, we'll see. But will that be the introduction to those characters as well in the larger Bat family within the DCU? That'll be very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see this Batman, what this Batman is going to be like versus the Elseworld, the Batman with Matt Reeves. I want to see the contrast. If they're gonna pull a little bit from Matt Reeves' Batman and do some of that, or is it gonna be like, I don't know, like a it is based on Grant Morrison's comic book, so maybe they'll just draw more of that aesthetic and that characteristics. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think they'll purposely try to stray from Matt Reeves stuff.
yeah, okay. All right, Booster Gold is next. How, and it's a TV show. How are you feeling about this?
Honestly, give me James Gunn humor for this, and I think it would be a hit.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I think
like
you're
think
right
of
about that.
Peacemaker, but Booster Gold.
Booster
I feel
Gold,
like that works
because
perfectly.
Booster Gold is like someone who wants to be a hero, but he's really bad at it, and he just
He's just
has
he's a
tech
fuck up.
from he has tech from the future, and he came back to this timeline
Yeah.
to
Like
be a
he'll
hero.
save, like you think of Superman, like, and I think I heard this somewhere where Superman, like he's saving like people from a falling plane, like he'll save the plane and like land it and save everybody inside. Like Booster Gold will do the same thing, but
Hmm.
he'll end up landing the plane in the middle of like a Los Angeles highway, and then traffic screws up, and the whole city is
Yeah,
like set back like 3 weeks because of it. So it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
he'll save the world the most fucked up way possible.
Oh man,
Up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way. So she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to
so before we get into Swamp Thing, which I'm sure you're super excited for, um, I'm really excited for this Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. The way he describes it, this it's a different story, and it's not the like. I mean, the Supergirl TV show was, my God, horrendous, and I don't know. I like jaded characters. Like, this is DC. This is what DC is, like these darker, more jaded characters, and I think this is a perfect contrast to maybe what they're gonna do with Superman Legacy. Because if Superman Legacy is going to be a much lighter hearted Superman, having his cousin being much jaded and like a little bit fucked up is going to be, and if they once they meet, it's going to be a very interesting dynamic. So yeah, I think this is going to be very cool.
Now, I have a question.
Mm.
Actually, no, I'm sorry, I have to save it. I have to save it.
Save it for what?
It's gonna be based off of a trailer that I think you haven't seen.
Okay. All right. Let's wait for it then.
Yeah.
perish in some terrible way. So she's a much very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. And
Wait,
totally
so is this
outside
going to be
of this
elsewhere?
thing, we're going to
No.
talk about a very
He said
dark
it's
horror
it's
story
it's
in
gonna
the
feed into the other stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
origins
a tone
of
tone
the
is outside of
monster
the
who
DCU.
is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the
Oh, okay.
DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys. and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Now, as a DC fan and as a comic book fan in general, um, this is something we've complained a lot about, which is good storytelling, director and writer visions being ruined by execs who don't know what the fuck they're doing, which was pretty much the entirety of the DCEU. Now, I don't know if he's just saying this because this is the complaints he's heard a lot on the internet, whether it was critics or fans saying, like, this is what needs to be done. We need to see director visions. We need to see writers' visions. Execs got to stay out of what's happening. Um, Now, I don't know if he said that because that's what he's heard the complaints are and he's trying to reassure people, or if he truly believes that. But either way, I'm happy it was said, and I really hope it is true, and the execs stay out of it. James Gunn and Peter Safran kind of in a role of overseeing everything, but not really, you know,
Controlling.
not micromanaging. You know what I mean? So I really hope that's the case with this. So
Now, one thing I want to say real quick is very much looking forward to Swamp Thing, like you alluded to, and with that, I'm just curious. So I can't help but when you look back at the Waller
mm-hmm.
series that they talked about, and it's an image I forgot from where, but like her Task Force X and everything is run out of, I don't know if it's Baton Rouge, but I know it is somewhere in Louisiana, which
Mm-hmm.
is, you know, where Swamp Thing resides in Louisiana. So I've
Ooh.
always been curious to see if like are they going to do a tie-in in the shows between Swamp Thing and Amanda Waller, or the Waller series.
I mean, if you're noticing that, I'm sure they've noticed that, and they
Yeah,
might do it. They seem like they're from the outside looking in, and from what they've shown us, it seems like they're, especially with the characters and projects they are choosing to put forward as chapter one,
yeah,
and not do the same thing as Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, the DC characters that everybody already knows that they might be actually a little bit tired of seeing on the
yeah,
big screen because those are the only characters they've only seen.
yeah.
Um, this is kind of like a nice, refreshing reboot.
No,
New characters, new stories, different types of stories, and this is what people are actually looking for. And you can see that by the way people are reacting to these HBO Max series. So, like HBO Max brought to life The Last of Us. For gamers, we all know how beautiful and wonderful and chaotic and heart wrenching that story is. And they've done a great job, and people are loving it so much. And I hope they can, and comic books have a lot of that. Like a lot of comic books we read. I mean, my God, one of my favorite comic books we got from you got a script from, I forgot the writer's name. Was it Grant
Peter
Morrison?
J.
No,
Tomasi.
Peter J. Tomasi. He wrote a co- comic book that had not a single line of dialogue.
The Batman and Robin silent episode, silent
Yeah, not a
issue.
single line of dialogue, and it was so powerful. Kind of doing. He crafted a silent movie into a comic book. Do you know how hard that is?
Mhm,
It's like ridiculously hard. But he
mhm.
did it. It was beautiful, and I would like to see, not saying that same thing, but like there's a
Like
lot
all
of,
silent films now.
yeah. But there's a lot of these like powerful, interesting stories in comic books, whether it's DC or Marvel, that need to be told, but in the right way.
Yeah,
And I hope these guys are
yeah.
successful in doing
There's so
so.
many stories out there that, like, if you're watching this podcast, if you're watching us on YouTube or on twitch.tv/, those wise guys, or if you're listening to the podcast version or whatever you're doing, and you don't know the comics, that's fine. That's a lot of people, but you are missing out on the greatest stories ever told from the superheroes that you love to watch.
Yeah.
Like they might have movies that you enjoy, maybe your favorite movies, and that's awesome. But like, let's be real, the best stories they ever had are in the comics,
Hmm.
and we that all comic book fans want Just take those stories, put them in the movies. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Just do that. So hopefully
Do it
we're getting
literally
there.
just page for page. And
Yeah,
that's literally what HBO Max did with The Last of Us.
yeah.
Like
They're tweaking a few things, but it's pretty much the game,
it's the game, it's all
and
the
it's working.
cutscenes exactly the same as they were in the
Like
game.
I'm quoting the show. It's an episode I've never seen before, and I'm quoting dialogue as it's happening. Like,
And
come on,
it was done right the first time. Just copy what they did and just put it there. You know what I mean?
it's a
And
crazy
but
concept.
yeah, right. If you're gonna use that source material, might as well just use the exact source material. Um, but we are done with James Gunn's DC Slate. Again, I hope they do a really great job with it, and wish him the best. But let's move on to other pieces of entertainment news. So we have a first look of the Creature 2 with Lady Gaga and Harley Quinn. Um,
What was it called? Full ado or something like that.
Folie à Deux? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And yeah, so she looks like she's falling madly in love with him in this scene,
and he
and
looks constipated.
but they have some elements of what just this image. I'm really inferring a lot from this image, but it seems like they use some of the elements of like the actual relationship of Harley Quinn and Joker from the original animated series, where Harleen Quinn falls in love with the Joker. Now I wonder if she's gonna actually be a Doctor Quinzel, um, Harleen Quinzel, who's a psychiatrist who's going to be dealing with him after all the mess that happened at the last movie, where he killed the TV host, where he was like dancing on top of the cars while the city was burning around him. So I wonder if he got caught and now she's his psychiatrist and they fall in love and they do more wild shit, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, that could be it, but at the same time, it's like this was a movie where I'm not even thinking about it. Like, what's going to happen? Like, you look at the first movie, and it's so different from what we know about the Joker.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just going in there. It's like you tell me what kind of version of Harley
Yeah,
Quinn
yeah,
this is. You tell me.
I'm
You know?
excited about that
Oh yeah,
because I
absolutely.
really
Because it's
loved the
like we
first
really don't
movie.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the first movie was like Christopher Nolan's Joker. You know what I mean? Even though he did a Joker, but this one feels more grounded in reality than the one he did. Um, uh, so like it's actually a mental illness. It's this. It's that. Like
Hmm.
it was very tied into what we are seeing in our society today.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. It was very interesting. But shout out to the director, who I don't remember the name, and the
Todd
writers, but
Phillips.
Todd Phillips. Yes, amazing job, and I can't wait to see your Folie à Deux. Next up, I Am Legend 2, to star Michael B. Jordan and Will Smith, set decades after the original, which means they are going with the was it the alternate ending where he survives instead of dying at the end of the movie. Interesting to see. I wonder if this is going to be his son, um, or some other scientist. Did they? Because he came up with a cure at the end of the movie. So I wonder if that ever happens or works. Or yeah,
No, I can't wait for Creed 3.
yeah, yeah. I figured. Squid Game season 2 starting to film this summer. Very happy about that. First
Absolutely.
show was amazing. Can't wait to see what happens with this and his red hair. Very
I
excited
hope it
about
gets
that.
redder.
Yeah, right. Full on anime. The Last of Us season 2. HBO has officially announced they have renewed The Last of Us for a second season. The new season will reportedly adapt the story from The Last of Us Part 2. If you're a big fan of the show and you have not played the video games, I highly recommend you stay away from looking up what happens or ruining it for yourself, because
Yeah.
you are in for a
Well,
ride, and it's going to be emotional. and you're gonna hate
Yeah.
yourself, and you're gonna be depressed.
So So actually, Eslam, when you were out, with the wedding,
Yeah.
Disco and I broke. Well, we didn't break, but we covered this news story.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I
No, it's
didn't know.
fine. That's perfectly fine. What I'm saying though is one of the things we were talking about. There was it hasn't been confirmed if the second game is season two. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we know
Mm.
it's not something that's in between season one and two? Because we were talking about, okay, are they going to recast Bella Ramsey, who needs to be an older version of Ellie for part
Yes,
two, or are they going to
very
just
true.
let her grow into
Mm.
that age? So it's like that's one thing we were talking about, like where it's happened. And then Disco and I ended up doing an entire like review of episode 3 of the Last of Us season,
Damn.
Last of
Okay,
Us. So
I have to go back and watch that.
yeah,
Nice. But yeah, no, the show has been doing such a phenomenal job adapting this game, and this is just the show slowly surpassing viewership of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon,
Mhm.
and I feel like HBO's like just choosing their content wisely. They're putting in the correct amount of budget, and it's a banger every time. So I'm really curious to see what's their next big show after The Last of Us,
Yeah.
what they're gonna do.
Like the past couple shows they've done have won me over.
Yeah,
For the most part, it's like the last three major shows, like it major an hour,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
an hour of Zeitgeist, an hour World of Peacemaker, House of the Dragon, and now Last of Us. It's won me
yeah,
over.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do. I mean, I feel like in terms of everything that's going on, Last of Us is the easiest one to digest. If you like
Mm,
compare it to Game of Thrones, like if
yeah.
you pick up the average person off the street, you show them Game of Thrones, you show them Last of Us, chances are they'll lean towards more Last of Us. So I think that's one of the reasons
Yeah,
why
it's
it's
an easier story. Yeah,
you know
it's a more linear, easier story.
yeah,
Um, House of the Dragon, my God,
it's
that
really
well,
good.
his whole universe is very rich and convoluted, and there's just so much going on. But it's just so
Yeah,
fucking good. You just want to dive in deeper every
yeah.
time.
But that's the thing with Last of Us. I mean, I don't know if you're catch. I don't know how well you remember the games, to be honest. But there's so many little Easter eggs that they're throwing in there. It's like
Oh, I saw
it's
the
an
Easter egg from the last episode. I was like, oh shit.
which one?
Well,
You
I'm
know?
not gonna say. I don't want to say it
Yeah.
now. We'll talk about it
Spoil.
when
We're
we
gonna spoil.
review.
You know what? We want to know what happens to everybody in the second game. We'll tell you. We'll do it.
That's a threat, bro. But yeah, so as soon as the show's over, in a couple of weeks, we'll definitely review the whole season, and it's gonna be a blast. I can't wait to talk about it. All right, let's get back into this. A live action How to Train Your Dragon movie is coming in 2025. I'm a huge fan of How to Train Your Dragon movie series. I loved every single one of them, and I can't fucking wait to see this. Super excited for this.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. And Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, Avatar Studios are going to be creating a lot of content for Avatar. This is kind of like a fan timeline of what people think is going to be happening. Obviously, we have some things that are confirmed, like Avatar Book of the Water from Netflix coming out summer 2023. And then Avatar Studios has already announced that they are making a adult team Avatar animated film, as well as a winter 2025 release of the New Earth Avatar animated series. So this is kind of what's happening. You got summer 2023, book one. They're kind of, I don't know if Netflix even announced that they're doing a second season of Avatar live action, but if this one is successful, I'm sure they'll do another one,
Yeah.
which would take care of book two, Earth. Um, we get to meet Toph, we get to meet the Boulder, and all these other fun characters. Followed by a Zuko animated film in
Huh.
2026 by
Interesting.
the Avatar Studios. And then we have, again, Book 3 Fire, which would be the last season for Avatar The Last Airbender from Netflix, if it actually gets that far. And then we have a couple of animated series and spin offs from Avatar Studios that have not been announced yet. But so far, this is kind of like what's confirmed, what's being projected and thought of going to happen. Obviously, you guys see here, this is by Avatar News. And I don't know. I'm very excited that the universe is expanding. Avatar is one of my favorite properties, IPs ever created, and fuck James Cameron.
It's one of the greatest IPs ever created. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of rich history in there and potential story in there as
yeah,
well.
yeah. James Cameron's just copying. You got The Way of the Water.
No, he's
You
not
got
copying.
the
He's not copying. He just named the show after it, and then he was talking. He's gonna have the water people, and then after that, he's gonna go to the fire people.
yeah, yeah,
He's not copying anything. It's all original.
yeah. And then he started with the Earth people.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
It's all good.
He invented airbenders.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we'll get into some gaming. Alrighty. E3. PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo won't be part of E3 2023.
E3 will not have the big three. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy. So what will they have? You know, um, I guess they'll have a bunch of indies. I mean, obviously there's other gaming studios, but like EA is part of like the Xbox ether. So is that
Well,
gonna be there?
no, no. EA does its own thing. It does EA Play every year, so they haven't been doing E3 for a minute now.
Okay. So who you're the gamer here, Dan? I'm not really sure who's gonna be at E3. Like I don't even know.
So, like
Like,
you said, it's going to be indies, but then Yves Guillemot from the director of Ubisoft
mhm.
stated, and I quote, "If there's an E3, we'll be there."
Well, I know Bethesda's not gonna be there because that's part of
They're
Xbox.
Xbox, yeah. So it's like Ubisoft, who it's weird because E3 was just like, we're going to do it, and then Ubisoft's like, if they are, we'll be there.
So it's like, all right,
So it's
we'll
like,
see if they
and on top of
haven't.
that, like Ubisoft's been having a lot of issues lately. So it's
Yeah.
like, if their big thing is Ubisoft, then they're gonna cut it. But E3 is also now run by Reed Pop, the same people who
Hmm.
do like New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
So E3, as we know it, is done. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore. E3 is now going to be, think of it like a PAX East,
Mm.
PAX West, where it's, think of it like a Comic Con essentially, where
Hmm.
people go in there, you get to play some games, maybe it's gonna be indie games, then you go home.
Uh, I
You know, it's
guess.
like
My
that's
God,
it. You know, like Keeley kind of killed it.
Keeley killed E3.
Pretty much. Like, think about it. Like, the moment, every time E3 has made an announcement ever since he started Summer Games Fest, anytime E3 is like, there won't be an E3 this year, Jeff Keighley tweets like within the minute, there will be a what's called Game Fest this
Summer
year.
Games Fest.
And
Yeah.
then and then the moment they're like, we're coming back, he comes in within that same minute. Summer Games Fest is coming back this year as well. And then it's like, and everybody who like, and his thing is, he doesn't necessarily, he puts on like his big show and he gets
Hmm.
like some people to go on his show, but
Yeah.
then he's just like, go watch the Xbox thing, which is
Hmm.
quote unquote a part of Summer Games Fest. Go watch the PlayStation thing, which is a part of this. Like, E3 is just like, Ubisoft might be here if we're sticking around. Like, that's where they're at.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But yeah, at this point, people are speculating if Keeley ends up absorbing
E3.
E3.
Yeah.
That's
Might as
what
well. I
people are talking
don't
about.
like E3 died in 2020. So it is
Yeah,
what
it
it
was
is.
done before that. Remember, PlayStation didn't need E3.
Yeah. Oh,
Never
right.
forget.
Big
Never
Daddy
forget.
Dick. Yeah, I remember that. Shout outs to Rudy.
Yeah, and that was definitely before 2020.
Oh, yeah. Lies of P coming August 2023.
Interesting.
God, I hope that is not true. I hope it gets delayed to 2024.
Why is that? Did you counterfeit
Because,
this?
yes, I did.
Oh
Because I was like,
wow,
this game is not
that was
coming out.
stupid. That
Yeah, it
was a
was.
stupid counterfeit.
Yeah. It would have been better to pick
Try to trade.
Starfield at
Try to
this
trade
point.
somebody.
Um, But yeah, man, Lies of P looks very interesting. They showed some more gameplay recently, and then that's when they showed like the release trailer. Now it doesn't have a specific date in August. There's still a lot of time. We're only in February, so August what is 8? So we still got 6 more months before we get to there, and I'm hoping in that 6 months it gets delayed hard, gets delayed real hard. But it
Also,
might not.
I hope the people making this game, they release their game on time, and hopefully they
I'm
get a
sorry
profit
to
out of that.
anybody
All
who's
indie
working on
teams,
this game. I'm being very selfish here. I don't want to lose a lot of points. Your game looks amazing, but my God, please delay it for my sake. I need to not be last again for like the third year in a
Yeah.
row. Okay,
You've never been last.
I was last the first year and the second year. I think no, second year was last year.
Yeah,
I was
you weren't
third.
last. You were third place the first year, third place last year,
Well, third
and
place was last place first year. Whatever,
there was four
man.
of us playing.
The first, oh, Rudy. Nah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, it counts. He almost
Ah.
beat you.
Sony announces PlayStation State of Play event for this week. That is the week of the 21st as we record right now. So sometime this week, we're getting a PlayStation State of Play.
So I've heard a little bit about this, but I don't know any of the details. You're showing me this image, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing the Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because they're gonna release some information about it.
Do you know if that's like the headline for the State of Play?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what it said.
Okay, so the headline is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Okay.
Here, let me pull up IGN's
Okay.
story because that's where I got it from, as you guys see
Yeah.
by the logo here. Um, where is this thing? Sorry.
No, it's all good. Yeah, because that's the thing. I've been between work and everything, I've been a little bit behind with the gaming news, so
So
I
yeah,
know that there is one. I just don't know what they're talking about.
so PlayStation State of Play event will take place on February 23rd and feature new details on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, PSVR 2 games, and third-party titles.
Okay.
Go check out IGN for more information on that. But yeah, so February 23rd, which is what are we in, Tuesday? So probably Thursday. That's when it's
Today's the
happening.
21st. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll be Thursday.
Yep. So go check that out. And that is it for my news. Yeah, I'm done. All of it. But yeah, man, our LWGF VGL is going pretty decent. All some games have been releasing.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dan's in first place.
Not obvious, not obvious. Like I said, we all drafted very well. The pickup
Yeah.
game, not so much. I have a game that just scored not that great. Not in the negatives, I don't get negatives that early, right, Eslam?
Yeah.
But um,
Hey, not as bad as Rusty. I'll take my -3.
oh man,
Better
but
than -14.
yeah, no. How did you get the negative? What was the game? I forgot.
Um, Forspoken.
Yeah, god damn it. Yeah,
Yeah, I know you guys warned me too. I'm just an
yeah. I was
asshole.
like, I mean, there was no signs pointing towards that being good.
Yep, I was like, I was really hoping. I was really
You
hoping and
were
praying, really hoping and praying, but not hard enough apparently.
not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
but got a -3 for that one, which is it is what it is. But then I have two games, one that's 80, and then Octopath Traveler, which is at 86 right now, holding steady. So I'm hoping that
Okay.
stays.
Do you want to pull it up? I have it here. If you want me to share my screen.
Yeah, share your screen. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Let's see. Let's do the window. There we go.
All right.
Yep. So we got it here. So let's do a quick look at the scoring that we got going on right now.
Mhm.
So it's not. I mean, yes, I'm ahead, but remember, I also have more games.
Yeah.
If you look at here, look at released games.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. So that last game got me like the 3.58 or something like that.
Mhm.
And then right now you and let's see. Oh no, you're in last.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like I said, it's still way too early to
Well,
tell.
my other two games. Well, my Octopath still hasn't hit yet because that officially releases on the 24th.
Mhm. Let's see what we
So-
got coming up here. So let's see. We got Like a Dragon Ishin did come out.
Mhm.
Horizon Call of the Mountains tomorrow. Interesting.
Yeah, that's holding steady at like 81 or something, or 82.
That sounds about right. And you with one hell of a pick right here. This might be
Octopath
my
Traveler
favorite
2.
pick of yours.
Mhm.
Octopath Traveler 2. And then
Yeah.
then after that we go into March. Wolong Fallen Dynasty. The same day that Creed 3 comes out.
Nice.
3rd of March. But yeah, we got some interesting
I
games
wonder
there.
if that's one of your games that you picked to drop. No, but
Who
that was one
knows?
of your
Only
initial
one.
picks.
Yeah. So
That was one of your initial picks, so maybe
Oh.
not. We'll see.
I dropped so many of my draft games last year.
Oh,
You know.
that's true. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
we got this. This is an interesting pick you got here.
Mhm.
The Bayonetta Origins. I like
Yeah.
that. It's funny. Anytime anybody online talks about this game, instead of saying Cerveza, they keep saying Cerveza. They can't. help it.
Cerveza.
Yeah, they can't help but say Cerveza. And I laugh every
But
time.
I
because
saw
nobody corrects it.
that was one of the games because Nintendo's releasing that as an in between game um,
For Bayonetta.
for Bayonetta instead of making people wait another 5 years. So I'm hoping that's one of the things that really gets them to score it better. But we'll see what happens.
No, so Taking a look at my games here. So, I did good. Fire Emblem Engage did pretty much what I was expecting. Dead Space did I didn't think it was going to score that high, but I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Atomic Heart is a disappointment.
Yep. That
It's a
was one of the
disappointment.
games you were supposed to drop.
I was supposed to drop. Who knows? Am I supposed to drop any of the
Wrestle
others?
Quest was on my list. I was gonna pick that up.
You actually knew
That
about
looked.
it?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
nobody else knew about it. Let's
Nah,
see what
that
you
was
got
on my
here.
list.
What do you got going here? Octopath Traveler 2. That's right. You have Jedi Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
I like your games, man. I like not all of them. You got some shit ones, but I like some games here for sure.
I hope Alan Wake fucks you up.
Yeah, you have to. You have to hope that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, at this point, you might as well just hope it comes out. But let's see. Then we got Rudy's over here. Let's see what he's got going
Yeah.
on. Rudy, this takes me back to the first year. It's like Rudy picked some really good games and picked some really fucking bad games, and I'm looking at it right here. This man did the same exact thing. Like, he picked some like clear, like yes, that's a great pick, like and then he did some other ones like, what the fuck are you thinking, dude?
Like Forza Motorsport, I know is gonna be good. Resident
got it?
Evil 4 remake.
There it
It's
is.
gonna be good. Um, Wolf Among Us 2, Pikmin 4, Minecraft Legend, Crash Team Rumble. I honestly don't know. I know Crash was big back in the day.
Oh, Crash is beloved still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Yeah,
how
no,
that's
like
gonna do.
some of the games that you blew past just now, I think are either not going to hit at all, or if they do hit, they're not going to do well.
Oh, like Street Fighters or
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not going to point out which ones, but there's definitely some in there that I'm looking at. It's like he's crazy for putting that on this list there, and one hell of a counter pick.
yeah.
And then we have Receding Headlines Interactive, good old Walter, who has another. The games he picked solid. The games he picked up afterward, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Blanc.
I understand Blanc. Blanc was a. I didn't pick Blanc because that was too much of a chance, and as you can see, why.
Yeah.
Anybody who did play Blanc was just like, it was great. It's a wonderful experience. It's awesome, but it's just not that great of a game, as you can
Yeah.
see by that score. So I don't know, man. And Suicide Squad kills Justice League. That's on there,
Let's see if it's coming out.
man. It's gonna be an interesting year.
It's gonna be fun, man. I'm taking my time with the games that I pick. Hopefully, the one that I put a bid on is gonna be a good one too.
Yeah, because you still got almost all the money. You only put down $3. I put down a decent amount. I'm already down to 82.
Well, I only put for the 3 games that I picked up. One of them being Wild Hearts. I only put $1 for each.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Nobody was bidding on them, so like
Yeah.
that's my list. You lucked out there. Yeah, so it was Wild Hearts, Plucky Squire, and Replaced, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, man. Let me get back here. Yeah, I think it's gonna be an interesting year. I think at some point, whenever I do find I have free time or a little bit more downtime, I will get a lot more aggressive.
Just
And,
put reminders on for when you need to drop games.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
I feel like that it's interesting that way. It makes it fun. You know?
It's
It makes it fun.
like
at
if
that
I
point.
remember. If I don't, well, shit.
Yeah. So it's like it'll be okay. It'll be okay. We'll see what happens. If I don't win, hey, I don't win. I mean, obviously, I want to win. I want to do the 3-peat, but it's like, if somebody if somebody really wants to surpass me at this point, they would have to win 3 years in a row, and let's see who could do that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
But
yeah.
let's see.
Oh man, that's the LWGF VGL. Go check it out. I gotta update the
Correction,
website with
sir.
the new.
That's the LWGF EGL's 3.
Yeah,
sir.
Season 3. I gotta update
added
the stuff
that
on the
last time.
website. For the website so people can go check it out. But final thoughts.
This whole episode was entertainment, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing sometimes. Let's be real. Most of what we talk about is entertainment.
Yep.
But no, we got a lot of stuff that's coming out in the future. That's very exciting, and let's just hope it all hits.
A lot of
Really.
TV shows coming out too at the same time, which is like
I'm watching
It's
a
like
bunch of TV shows right now.
me too. Like I'm trying to keep up with everything so we can have some good episodes reviews on the podcast. But yeah, we'll see what's coming up in the future.
Yes, we will.
My final thoughts. Very excited for the new DC Slate. very very excited, especially the shows. Just as excited about the movies, but I'm starting to love shows more. It's just a longer form to tell more good story, and the way HBO Max is going, man, I really hope those DC shows hit hard, hit real hard. So
Yeah, hopefully.
yeah, especially that Green Lantern one. My God, that shit. After all these years of like saying it's coming out, and finally comes out.
Be real,
Huh.
that's the one that I do have the most doubt in. Like
Yeah,
by far, that's the one I have the most doubt in.
I'm being hopeful,
Yeah.
but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So
Of course, as always, I want to be wrong. I want to be
yeah.
proven wrong. I want it to be amazing. I want it to be a hit. But I don't know, man. I honestly really don't have faith in it. Not in that one.
Yeah. Well, with that said, thank you for checking out the Los Wise Guys podcast. I am your host, Eslam, accompanied by Dan. Like, subscribe, share, and comment below. Like and subscribing is free for you to do, and it helps us out immensely. Help us grow our channel. Share with your friends. Let us know what you think about the upcoming DC slate. Let us know what you think about all these other upcoming movies and TV shows we discussed. Did we pick good games? What would you would have picked in our places? Let us
I
know.
would have
Hit
kicked
me
your
up.
ass in the league. I would have kicked your ass. I don't
Hit
care.
me up. I need some help, people. Give me some suggestions. Go check us out on our social medias, as you see below there. And then also go check out the Los Wise Guys website, loswiseguys.com. We got new content going up there every day. Thank you for listening and have a great week.